So this video aims to explain the difference between UK data access and USP data. So UK data access and USP data both give you access to all the live companies that companies have, some 5.5 million at the moment. And you have the option of using financial criteria. There's 42 different selections you can make here, putting in maximum, minimum values and so on, or geographic criteria, putting in distance from a postcode, or picking a region, or picking a county, and so on, or keywords, use of keywords in the business description or company name, or shareholder parameters such as the age of the biggest shareholder, the percentage of control they have, the number of shareholders. So you can combine all these combinations of selection criteria to form a group, and then with either USP data or UK data access, you can export that group. So those things are the same. What is different is what you can do with that group once you have it. With USP data, you can create reports out of that group with analysis of industry averages for the group and trends and use rankings and so on in PDF form, and you can export that. You can also put it into the CRM. There's a CRM built in with USP data, and you can you can import into USP data your own list of companies and find other companies that match those companies and so on. But the other and in some ways more important difference is that within USP data there is classification done based on research that we've done. So essentially, what we've done is we've gone away to the various sources such as association lists and so on, and over a period of 30 years we built this up to 1,000 different sectors, and that overlays the SIC codes, which is the only thing you get in UK data access. So if you don't believe that SIC codes give you quite what you want without a good deal of work, then you need USP data in one or other of the forms to save yourself some time. And I'll show you how this actually works. So if I put in a keyword here, then the list redraws to give me reports that have something to do with my keyword. So if I'm looking for heating and ventilation contractors, we actually have a report that's been researched and contains some 4,000 odd companies. If I use the same keyword in SIC, then I find that in fact there is no heating and ventilation contractors report. What there is a report down here on plumbing, heating and air conditioning installers, and that's the closest they get. So if I exclude from the ones that we've identified with the research, the ones that SIC identifies, then I get nearly 2,000 firms. So in terms of this diagram here, which is on the website, as you can see, basically the area in green is 2,000 firms. So those are firms that you would not easily find using just SIC because they'd be misclassified. In other words, they have other SIC codes, and sometimes those are literally other whatever, which makes it very difficult to find those companies. And it's the beauty of using research, and that's which is why this icon here is in focus. Whereas the SIC grouping with the sort of big, larger orange circle, and that is the effect of that is that you're going to get companies that you don't want mixed in, and you're going to find and like I've just shown you, there are companies that you do want that you don't actually find. So in the area in green then is represented by my nearly 2,000 companies. So if I reversed that and said, well, how many of these companies are there? So there are 44,000 companies. So in this term, that orange circle there, if it was completely orange, would be 44,000 companies. And if I said, well, how many of those actually are heating and ventilation contractors? In other words, I use the research and then exclude from that group, So what it's telling me is that the area in orange is 42,000 firms. In other words, I have to look through 44,000 firms. 42,000 of them will be irrelevant to my search. The area in blue is the ones that I'm wanting, and and I would never find the area in green. So essentially, what this is saying to you is that if you value your time, then using the research that's already been done, plus the tools of what you can do with the data once you've got it. In other words, creating reports, adding them into the CRM, importing your own data and looking to see which companies are like the ones that you've got. All these sort of things you can do with USP data across any sector, all 1,700 sectors. That's all the SICs and all the research reports. And then you can create your own saved reports, and you can create project listings in the CRM and annotate them and so on and so on. And you basically have unlimited access. But for that, which is going to save you a lot of time, you're having to pay more money. If you're in the happy position of knowing exactly the sectors that you want, and let's say you were interested in two sectors, I don't know, IFAs, independent financial advisors, and wealth managers. Let's say you were interested in just those two sectors, then just buy those two sectors and you get all the tools, all the facilities that I'm talking about, the research reports, etc., etc. And it's going to save you a lot of money. So it's like buying a slice of USP data. Whereas if you buy UK Data Access, it's a lot cheaper, but you're going to need to spend a lot more time doing the research for yourself. And it really comes down to whether you have the time to do that, or indeed want to spend your time doing that sort of job. Okay, hopefully that's made the differences clear and explains why it may be worth considering a version of USB data rather than the cheaper option of UK Data Access. Thank you.